It is your Classic Metal Show right here on theclassicmetalshow.com. That is Queensryche, brand new Queensryche, a tune called Fallout, right here on your Classic Metal Show. And I want to thank Todd LaTorre for taking a little time this week. I'll be honest, I wish that I had more time this week with them. You know, we only got, he was in the middle of a very, very short little run where he only got 20 minutes of time. But it was certainly cool to talk to Todd, and clearly a very positive dude, and he's very, very into, you know, what he's doing right now. And gotta say, it's cool to hear that he appreciates the Geoff Tate thing. And certainly as a journalist, I personally would love him to say, well, fuck Geoff Tate. He's a fucking douchebag. You know? But he's not going to do that because, you know, like he said, and I'll give him props for saying, he's like, I don't fucking know the guy. You know, I think if he did know the guy, he might take a harder stand with him. But yeah, you know, he was honest. He just said, you know, fuck it. I don't know him. He's just some guy I met twice, you know, shook his hand, influenced me. Cool. Certainly, there's no denying that the guy does Queensryche justice, though. So, new album, self-titled, called Queensryche. It's funny that I see people in our chat room saying how that album sucks and it's bad and whatever. You're fucking crazy. This fucking microphone is fucking up. But you know, I'm not going to say that it's fucking, I don't know, Empire or Operation Mindcrime Part 2. It's not. It's definitely not even Promised Land. It's a step down from Promised Land. But when you consider the monumental amount of shit that this band has put out in the last 20 years, Here in the Now Frontier and Q2K and American Soldier and Dedicated to Chaos, and man, these albums suck. I mean, certainly I could probably find one tune in each album that I like, but when you look at the body of work since 1995 or whatever, holy shit. You know, it's like, man, how has this band even continued to still have an audience with such a monumental amount of crap coming out? And, you know, now they're rebuilding. As Todd said, they are definitely in a rebuilding phase, and certainly the first work that they put out is very, very strong. I mean, again, you can read my personal review on Pit Riff. I thought it was okay. You know, it's three quarters good. You know, it's pretty decent. A little short. Some of the songs kind of Most of the songs pretty good. You know, I like it. But in any event, there is the big court case that will be coming in November, and we're going to see what happens there. I honestly don't know. I have said publicly I think that Geoff's going to win. I think Geoff is going to be able to continue being Queensryche. I just do. I think that Geoff is going to go into court and he's going to go and say, well, I've had all this press about Queensryche since I've had my own entity, and I've done it without all these guys, and I've been in the press, and all kinds of media all over the place has covered me, and, you know, it's largely grossly skewed toward me, and therefore I am the legal brand owner. When people think of Queensryche, they think of me. And I don't necessarily agree with that, but I certainly think that if you just go by the numbers, and by certainly him talking all the shit that he does, it could very well happen. It could very well. I don't think that the other guys are going to lose the right to use the name. I honestly don't think that the guys are going to lose the right to use the name. But I also don't think that you're going to see the end of one of these Queensryches either. I think both bands are going to be able to tour as Queensryche for the future. I honestly think now Geoff is already out there on record saying he's got this trilogy, and, you know, it's going to be this 3-part thing over 4 years and blah, 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 blah. So, you know, I think that he's probably going to maintain it. Again, I could be dead wrong, and if I am, fine. Truth, I hope I am, because I don't think that what Tate's doing is Queensryche, and personally, I just don't think it. I mean, there's no difference between what he's doing now and what he does on a solo tour. It's just a different bunch of cats that are playing with him. And, you know, given that fact, though, I will say our friend from the CMS chat, Kurgan, went out and saw the Geoff Tate version of the band. And when he saw that version of the band, he called me and told me that it was damn good. He said it didn't feel like Queensryche, but he said that it wasn't awful. So, you got to take that as what it is, I mean, Kurgan's a diehard Queensryche fan. He loves Queensryche. And, as a fan of the band, he would say it. He would definitely say, well, this sucked a dick. And he didn't. He absolutely, I literally talked to Kurgan today, and he said, it was pretty damn good. So, I don't know how it's all going to play out. I would certainly love to see it just be one band of Queensryche, and to be honest, nothing against my man Geoff Tate, but I think that Queensryche in my eyes is probably the same as in most. It's the Todd LaTorre version. Sounds more like Queensryche. And I'm sorry, but even the albums with Geoff Tate that say Queensryche on them don't sound like Queensryche. Frequency Unknown and Dedicated to Chaos and American Soldier. Shit doesn't sound like Queensryche. Does it? Does it to any of you guys? I don't even know. But in any event, I'm certainly glad to have Todd on the show. It was very cool of him to give us a little bit of time and blah, blah, blah. So there you go. Todd LaTorre of Queensryche. And if nothing else, he gave us the ID. So as we said earlier, it is your classic metal show. I am Chris Aiken, and as you can probably hear in my voice, the beer is starting to kick into my brain. I'm like I think I've officially transitioned from buzzing to drunk a little bit. I definitely am feeling it a little bit, but that's okay, because we only got, 3 hours left. I can fucking do that blindfolded. So we are definitely going to be playing a bunch more tunes, and we're going to be talking about a bunch of stuff. And people are asking me for the phone number in the chat. Well, I see it in the chat. 800-497-5891. Feel free to call in. Call in, bring a topic, and we'll talk about it. And since I don't have Neeley here to, since he's out there, motorboating the lovely Veronica from Benedictum, I guess it's all me tonight. So I will do what I can to make that happen. Hail and kill, caller. You are on the air.
Greetings and salutations, Mr. Aiken.
Mr. Geoff Tate, how are you, sir?
I am conflicted as usual this evening.
Please tell me why.
Just having to get my headphone cords unraveled here.
Oh, my goodness.
Now, as I was saying, I listened with a great deal of anticipation to this interview with, what's his name, Ted?
Yeah, Ted LaTorre.
Yeah, Ted, whatever, Ted the Turd. Ted the Turdy.
Okay.
As the case may be. Now, it does not surprise me one bit that I have said in the press before that they're a bunch of pussies. They are. That was the word I used. Bunch of pussies.
Jeez. Okay.
It does not surprise me one bit that they would take into their ranks another pussy like him. The man was afraid to state an opinion.
Now, Geoff, he had nothing but praise for you.
Yes, nothing but praise, but it rang hollow because he has my job.
So you think it's just false praise so that he can look better to the fans?
It is false diplomacy. It is taking the high road where everyone can see. Meanwhile, he's trampling my legacy.
Now, do you think he's most of the reviews, and I'm sure you've checked, most of the reviews of what they're doing has been good. I mean, don't you think that is kind of a credit to his imitation of you?
Absolutely not. I mean, I suppose I could somewhat take credit for what he has done, because without me, Geoff Tate, Geoff with a G, there would be no Todd LaTorre, or Ted, or whatever the fuck his name is. But at the same time, I feel that the good reviews for him and the negative reaction for myself and my endeavors are only a result, collateral damage of the internet smear campaign that has been waged against me.
Well, yeah, of course. And it's a travesty, Geoff. That I don't understand why, and that's why I was sharing a review that I heard this week from one of our personal fans of our show that went out and saw you on the 16th, and he said that it was nothing but a great show.
And I certainly appreciate that. You certainly, at a time like this, when I've undergone such a drastic experience as I have in the past year or so, you find out who your friends are, and I'm certainly grateful for any friend that I may have, and I'm sure you can relate to that, Christopher.
Absolutely.
With the upheavals in your own life.
That's right.
But at the same time, I feel that I am the underdog here. I am the Pittsburgh Pirates, as it were.
See, Geoff, I would disagree with you totally on this, and forgive me for disagreeing with you because you are way more knowledgeable than me in just about everything, let's be honest. But I would say that you are more of the New York Yankees. You have the victory. You are the victory. These guys are a AAA team trying to play in a major league ballpark.
Well, don't flatter me, but I certainly, that's the way I feel. I mean, that's the way I feel it should be. But the reality of it is, I see Geoff Tate, who have done all these things for Queensryche, who have basically made this band over the past 30 years. They owe it all to me, and yet they're up there getting all the good reviews, and I have become a bit of an internet tabloid joke, as it were.
Well, and it's totally unfair, Geoff. I mean, to be honest, I think I've read every interview and quote that you've said, throughout the last 6 months, and I think every bit of it has been justified. I think people have falsely challenged you, from everything to your musical style to the size of your manhood, and all you've done is acknowledged all of it appropriately.
Well, as far as the size of my manhood goes, if your dick was as big as mine, you'd brag about it too. What can I say? I must say that since I've come into this period in my life, this plateau of discovery about myself, I've become to. I'm seeing everything through a black cock-shaped prism, as it were.
Okay.
It's a new experience, I'm sure, but it's where I'm at right now. And by the way, where is him?
Neeley? Neeley is throwing his.
Must not be named.
He is throwing his manhood into Veronica from Benedictum, I think.
I don't believe it.
Well, I do have photos on the CMS Facebook.
Interesting. Very interesting, that is. Wow. I would high-five him over her back.
Maybe you need to take her out on tour sometime, Geoff, so that you can, give her a little quote-unquote Tate training.
It is certainly a possibility, but I have something else that I would like to talk about.
What is that?
Now that, actually, it is a new lineup change in my own entity of Queensryche. The real Queensryche has a new drummer, I might add.
Oh, and who is the new drummer of the real Queensryche?
Well, we've had our struggles. We've had Brian Tichy and Simon Wright and the other fellow. Who was the first fellow? I can't even remember anymore.
Robert Blotzer.
Right. RB3.
Right.
There have been so many different ones and such upheavals that it's hard to keep it all straight. But sure. I would say, and this is major news, news music.
Nice.
someone that I have had. Let us play a little guessing game, Christopher. It's someone that I've had words. There's been a bit of a rift with this person in the past, a bit of ship talking, as it were, as you like to say. It's someone that you might not expect.
And is playing in Queensryche now?
No, it's someone who's playing in my Queensryche, but someone with whom we have had disagreements in the past, a bit of a feud, as it were.
Well, I got to be honest, Jeff. I wouldn't know because the minute I hear that they're anti-Geoff Tate, they fall off my radar.
Well, your solidarity is certainly appreciated, but in fact, allow me to introduce the new drummer of Geoff Tate's real Queensryche, Mike Portnoy.
Wow, Mike Portnoy is joining the real Geoff Tate lineup.
Well, absolutely. You know, there was some bit of unpleasantness on the Eddie Trunk program, as it were.
Sure.
Some years ago, I suppose I didn't understand my surroundings. I told tales out of school, so to speak, in front of the New York gang,
right,
if you will. And it got back to Michael, and things got ugly. But, Mike and I have a lot of things in common, if you think about it. You know, we have both suffered a drastic reduction in circumstances.
Sure.
I was ousted from my throne in Queensryche, and he has parted ways with his band Dream Theater.
Which he started just like you.
Exactly. Or as Eddie Trunk pronounces it, Dream Theater.
Right.
Yes. And also he's, I put it in sexual terms. I am in the prime of my life. I am with the love of my life, my lovely wife, Susan.
Sure.
And we are exploring all the sexual boundaries. Now, Mike Portnoy is acting like someone who's newly divorced and sticking it in anything he can.
Yeah, like me. Right.
I wouldn't know about that, but more power to you, Christopher. But Portnoy has gone from adrenaline mob to this winery dogs.
Sure.
And the project with those other wankers, Billy Sheehan and the other fellow.
Right, that's the Winery Dogs.
That is the wine. I thought it was a different band.
No, that would be the Winery Dogs.
I don't read Blabbermouth.
Of course not.
How would I know?
That would be beneath you.
Absolutely. I don't stoop to read the scribblings, the drug-addled asylum scribblings of the unwashed masses.
Well, and why would you, Jeff? Because what do they talk about? That filthy heavy metal.
Absolutely. The bands with names that are sentence fragments and random collections of Scrabble tiles dumped onto the page.
That's right.
Right. Now, as I was saying, Mike Portnoy has, he knows what it's like. He has been taken down a peg, as it were. Now, Mike Portnoy, he has joined my band because we are both the pivotal figure in our respective entities, our respective bands, our collectives.
Sure.
And yet we have both been ousted. We have both been cast out of the circle. We've found common ground, and I've extended an olive branch and said, "You can come play drums for me." And possibly as part of the peacemaking process, I may allow him to extend his olive branch to my lovely wife Susan.
Well,
you know what I mean?
Sure.
Although I can't imagine that would be much fun for Susan. She may have to take one for the team. You know, it's quite a step down from my massive black mamba snake to his snipped off little Jewish dick.
Okay.
But it's all for the good of it's all, one for all for one, all that sort of thing.
Right.
Hey, I know. We'll invite Red Beach. What do you think?
You could have some fun there.
I think that's a wonderful idea. Well, actually, the more that I think about it, it might muddy the waters, so to speak.
Geoff, unfortunately, I cannot comment on this.
Oh, yes. You're Switzerland on this one.
I have to
will
be.
Will you edit this out of the podcast as well?
No, and I did not edit anything before.
Absolute rubbish.
I did not.
Who did?
I did not edit anything out of the podcast ever.
Neeley did it.
Must have been Neeley, because I did not edit anything.
That turncoat fuckstick.
Well, that's why he's not here tonight. You noticed that he took the week off. That was the same week when he knew you would be infuriated by this false singer of under your name was on. He knew he couldn't handle that.
Big head Todd and the toddlers.
He definitely avoided only because he knew that your wrath would be, stern.
My wrath has been boiling since last week. Oh, where were you last week?
Where was I last week? I was somewhere. Oh, I was I was watching bad movies.
And where was Neeley?
Neeley chose not to do the show.
Chose not to do the show because he knows that no one wants to hear him. Oh, well, I was talking to Don Dockin the other day. And he told me a really interesting story about Chicago. We bonded over our love of Chicago.
We sang 25 or 6-4 together.
Does anybody really know what time it is?
Does anybody really care?
Not me. Not me. You, Christopher?
Of course not. Only thing I care about is silence in Tennessee.
Absolutely. I'm smiling next to you. Sing it with me.
In silence in Tennessee.
Stupidity.
That's right. Geoff, I'm right there with you.
It's certainly wonderful sharing confidences like this among friends.
That's right.
Without the distraction of suspicious, sketchy types.
Well, Geoff, I can't promise this to be true, but, maybe with your endorsement, we can just not have Neeley back on the show. It could just be me and you doing the show.
A wonderful idea. Who needs him anyway?
That's what I think, too. I mean...
That's what I've thought all along, secretly. I've never said it, but I've always felt a chemistry, a bit of a rapport with you that I never felt with Neeley.
He's false with you, Geoff. He always tells you one thing and then fucks you in the ass the minute you're off the phone.
Feeling. I have learned this the hard way many times.
Sure.
And, it's disheartening, but there are those people in the world, especially in the business that I am in. It's something you must get used to, but it never fails to be a shock when someone you thought was a friend turns out not to be a friend.
And that motherfucker is not your friend, is he?
No, he's not my friend. And when I find out where is he, he's gone.
Yeah.
He's hitting that Benedictine bitch. I had dibs on that.
Right. He's stealing your property. Once again, he uses you on his show to steal attention, and now he's stealing what should be yours.
It makes me angry. It makes me very angry indeed.
I agree.
And I certainly don't want to discuss it further because I don't want to sully Miss Freeman's good name, but this was all worked out.
Yeah, as it should be. I mean, breasts that large are entitled to you, Geoff.
Absolutely. I mean, it is a privilege. If I must say, my skills are, I got the skills to pay the bills, as it were.
Look, if a girl's going to be if a girl's going to be titty fucked, she needs a fucking massive cobra in between those big boobs, right?
Absolutely. You got, a big hot dog for a big bun, so to speak. Now, let me pressure you with a little song.
All right, please do.
Baby, I got a big wiener for your bun, big and hot and sweet. Where you ever seen such meat? Got lots of mustard too, and onions.
I think is that something you're working on for the next album, Geoff?
It's a little ditty I'm working on. I'm hoping to sell it to the Oscar Mayer fellows.
I think it's an instant classic.
Although, with Mr. Portnoy in the band, perhaps Hebrew National would be a better market.
Wow. Well, Geoff, somebody in the chat room just said that there could be the CMS and Wendell Neeley CMS. What do you think?
We would be the real CMS.
That's right.
We could take his ass to court.
We could. We could sue for the name.
Absolutely. It's wonderful. We could take all the servers and all the merchandise and whatever else there is, whatever else he has.
That's right.
He could be living at the Red Roof Inn.
What about the real Geoff Tate's classic metal show?
It's a wonderful idea. I feel so gratified this evening.
Man, our chat room is definitely in for you. These are all coming from the chat room. These guys get
Wonderful.
These guys get who the real Queensryche is.
There are a few good souls up in the peanut gallery, as it were.
That's right.
It warms the cockles of my heart, and it warms the heart of my cock. Ooh, yeah.
Now, with these guys saying all these good things, would you be willing to shake their hands?
What's in it for me? How much are they paying?
Well,
they
are promoting.
If they are willing to pony up, so to speak, for the real Geoff Tate, real VIP package, I will be more than happy to shake their hand and share a smoke, and a glass of wine, and a conjugal visit with the females. Although I am certainly not sure exactly how many of them are females, which brings me up to something I wanted to bring up with you, Christopher.
Sure.
As your friend,
mm-hmm.
I've got to tell you, the little barely legal Hottentot, as she were, I don't think that's a girl.
Which one?
The one who sent you pictures.
Oh, my God. Angel of Death?
That one.
You think she's not a female?
No, I there's just something about her that I feel like you are being catfished, my friend.
Geoff, that's the one I really want.
It always works out that way, doesn't it?
That's horrendous.
It certainly is, but there's just something about her. Her style of humor seems just so masculine. And she's such a... if I were playing the part, I would inflate my age to something somewhat more believable than 18.
Well, what about the one that I was seeing up till this week? She was 32. Do you think that was a false thing, too?
I don't know any about that. Tell me more.
Well, she was allegedly 32, and I did spend time with her. Seemed real. Had like real parts.
Are you having doubts, Christopher?
Well, now you're making me doubt everything, Geoff. You're bringing to light the fact that I should be very cautious.
You absolutely should. You never know who you might meet, especially on the internet these days, and especially in your vulnerable position. I understand that you're wanting to, as Mike Portnoy is doing, stick your dick into everything. Only you're doing it literally, and he's only metaphorically.
Yes.
But you must be careful. Perhaps, reconstructive surgery can do some wonderful things these days. Perhaps your latest friend, she may have not started out as a she. She may be a he.
So I might have been licking the reformed ball bag of a dude?
It is entirely possible, but
Geoff.
I do not know the young lady in question, or do I? But it is Miss Newfoundland or whatever she is.
Right.
that is my concern at the moment. I think you must step very carefully. Anyone can go and pull dirty pictures off a pornographic website and pass them off as their own visage, their own likeness.
Right.
I would want some assurances, some guarantees, as it were.
Well, what guarantees can I possibly get about the surgery and whatnot?
Well, I'm not sure what. I would want to make sure that she is a born female. There is no line, but as yet, I have not felt myself attracted to any particular trannies.
Okay.
Tranny sex is not somewhere where I have felt compelled to go yet. I would want her to be a born female, perhaps a birth certificate. Do they have those in Canada?
Yeah. I'm sure they do.
I mean, I wouldn't know. I don't even know what street Canada is on.
Jeez.
At this point, we must... this is where you're supposed to applaud my quoting of Al Capone.
Oh, Geoff, I'm silently... Look, if the fans can't figure out what you were trying to say there, do I need to spell it out? That's like the definition of bad comedy. You don't play...
Mr. Capone was a great man and a true hero
Sure.
of the 99%, fighting against the 1%.
That's right.
Now, anyway, I would just say tread carefully. This whole deal with Angel of Death, as it were, as she calls herself, it smells fishy, and not the right kind of fish.
You think it's really Man of Death?
It is quite possible. You must be careful. You never know. You don't want to. You don't want to be. You don't want to have the same experience. You don't want to drink the funky cold Medina, do you?
No, not at all.
All right then. Tread carefully, and please use protection.
Well, I certainly do that. I certainly don't need another kid.
Absolutely. I've raised four daughters of my own.
Sure.
It's a trial. I certainly don't want any more myself.
No, of course not. And now, how did you go about proving that Susan was really a chick? I mean, she's got some manly features, depending on the way you look at her.
I beg to differ, Christopher.
Well,
now we're getting into some deep water here.
Okay.
You don't insult a man's wife.
I'm not. I'm just saying, depending on how you look.
Who happens to be my manager.
Just depending on how you look. Maybe I caught her in a bad glimpse. I don't know.
Let me just tell you, I am acquainted with every inch of that woman, and I can tell you she is all woman.
Are you sure? Are you sure some of those inches were not inverted?
I am quite certain, Christopher. She has assumed something of a linebacker appearance as part of her, her work. You have to be a bulldog to be an entertainment manager, to be the manager of a platinum-selling rock band, as is Queensryche. You've got to have some balls, and sometimes they manifest themselves physically, not in actual balls, but in a bit of a square jaw, a bit of a
shoulder pad look.
Yes, shoulder pads look, square jaw, and that beefy forearms. But I can tell you, it only adds to the excitement in the boudoir.
So it's somewhat of a mystery.
No, there's no mystery about it. She's all woman, but she's a tomboy at heart, a tomboy and a ball buster and a go-getter, and I love her for it. And God, she makes my cock hard.
So, Geoff, how have you been able to hang out on the road without her with you?
I have my ways. What stays in Vegas, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, or Fargo, or Topeka, or Des Moines, any of those places. You catch my drift, don't you?
I heard there might have been some activity in Cleveland.
Really?
That's what I heard.
Really?
That is what I hear. I hear some other lovely lady got to wear the vest.
Well, let me put it this way to you, Christopher. Now that the word is out about my anaconda of love, my Eubanky banger, as it were.
Right.
There is no shortage of girls who want to get a piece of that.
Of course not.
Get a taste of my hand-flung chitlins.
Is it hard, though, to continue to get the same white women that you used to get on tour? Because, let's face it, 50% of those white women don't want the dark meat.
Well, some do, some don't. Some of the more high-class ones say they don't want the dark meat. But then the low-class ones, the trailer trash, the Peckerwoodettes, as it were.
Sure.
The Hilljacks, the Hilljills.
The Hilljills, right.
They do things that, your high-class women say they won't do.
Right.
I have to do a lot less cajoling and coaxing.
That's right.
And the ones that don't have teeth give a sensational blowjob.
So you're good with the homeless women.
I didn't say homeless. Trailers count as a home.
So when do you meet trailer chicks?
There are people, in heavy metal there's always been a bit of a, one of the things I have in the past have not liked about heavy metal is that it's sort of a salt of the earth underdog medium.
Sure.
It attracts a certain type of person, and it repels a certain type of other person. And you certainly get those, what you might call undesirable elements, but there is a certain type of, hay shaker chick.
Right.
She got the poofy hair and the Kiss baseball jersey, and a touch of cigarette smoke in her hair and her breath. She has a couple of cesarean scars on her belly. There's just something about her, yet she's ready to get down at a moment's notice.
Right.
That sort of free, carefree, devil-may-care spirit that invigorates me. It's. I wonder how I turned my back on it all these years, wanting, French models and other, starlet type of women. I think I've let myself out a lot of fun and adventure in the bedroom between the sheets. And I'm trying to make up for that now.
So do you think, Geoff, that, in the past you tried to maintain the upper echelon to accommodate yourself, but at this point you realize the real dirt is where it's really at?
I think I've cut myself out of a lot of things, and I think I've tried to maintain my own station to my own expense, to my own detriment.
Sure.
And, there's no harm in dabbling.
Sure. So right now, Geoff, when you're on the road, you're really just looking for a really dirty fucking dirtball slut.
Well, if it's in the offing, I'll take it. There are some women that will do things that other women will not do, and I'm down with it all.
Right. So,
at this point in my life, I like to cut out the formalities.
Sure. So if you could have Carolyn from fucking Trailer 32 in a trailer park or Carolyn Bessette, which one would you take?
Ooh. Both, please.
Very nice.
That would be a threesome to remember.
I'm telling you.
Although it would make one of my favorite threesome games a bit of a moot point. There would be no purpose in playing Guess Who with those two.
Because the one would get her tits gummed.
Absolutely. Now you're catching the spirit of things.
Dude, I'm trying to live vicariously through you, Geoff, because I certainly cannot. There's no way can I pull both a debutante and a street whore. I just can't pull that like you.
Well, we can't all be Geoff Tate. There's
No.
only one Geoff Tate, and guess who it is?
It's
me.
you.
That's right.
It's you with a G, of course.
What's my name?
Geoff with a G.
What's my band?
Queensryche. The only Queensryche.
That's my nigger.
That's right. Word.
Oh, Did I get in trouble for saying that?
Apparently not. We're still on the air.
Oh, Christ, am I going to have to apologize?
No.
Good. I'm sorry.
Absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Sorry,
That's your heritage.
I'm black. How can it be racist?
That's right. That's your heritage.
Exactly. Absolutely. My middle name is Toby.
All right, Geoff. Well, you know what I was thinking about doing tonight to end your time. Not that I'm trying to cut you off, but I was thinking.
Hey, Susan just gave me the look, and she's.
Well, then this is perfect timing. Because what I was thinking I would do tonight is something Neeley never lets us fucking do on this show.
All right.
And that
when
is...
the cat is away, the mouse will play.
What I was thinking I have to do is play not the standard off the TV, but a really deep track from the best album that's ever been released, the self-titled Geoff Tate first solo record. What do you think of that?
It is a totally underappreciated, overlooked, underrated work of mine. It's one of my favorites.
It's far better than anything you did with those bums in Queensryche.
One of these days, some years from it might be after you and I are wearing the Earth Fun overcoat. After we are, the smorgasbord at the Worm Cafe.
Sure.
But one of these days, I will be vindicated, and the Geoff Tate solo album will be, it'll be revered as one of the great classics of modern popular music, and Operation Mindcrime will be completely forgotten.
Of course it will, Jeff. I've always looked at your first solo record as akin to like Rubber Soul or Sticky Fingers or, Appetite for Destruction or any of these legendary Master of Puppets.
No, not Appetite for Destruction. What is wrong with you, Christopher?
I'm just talking about as far as what should have been sales numbers. The Geoff Tate solo should have absolutely sold as much. Dude, it without question. I mean, as far as artistically, this should be up there with like Gershwin or Beethoven or any of the true classics.
My wheelhouse. This is my bailiwick, as it were.
How about if I cross paths here and go, this is your version of the Police's Synchronicity.
I could not have said it better myself. And we're still in talks with Andy.
Well, Andy needs to come on. I mean, he's not doing anything with the Police. And let's face it, even if he was, the Police or Geoff Tate's Queensryche seems to me like there's no decision to be made.
Well, actually, there is a decision to be made because he has some competition now. He didn't shit or get off the pot, and now he's got company. We have another candidate for guitarist that is looking mighty good to me right now.
Who's that?
Would you like to guess?
Well, I mean, I already know you got Robert Sarzo. I don't know how much more of a step up you could take from that.
It's someone possibly not in my musical field of reference so much, but I think we connect on a personal level. I think we would have much to talk about and experience. Of course, I'm talking about Reb Beach.
Oh. Well, Reb, even though he does play that horrendous heavy metal, I definitely think on the bus you two would have a lot of fun together. I
think we would, and even playing some of his music is just simply musical diarrhea. We would flush that, but
speaking of diarrhea,
I watched him play. He's got that Brown sound.
Very
His
good.
fingers simply glide along the fretboard as though they were greased. It's amazing.
Everybody in the peanut gallery loves him.
And did I mention he always plays a brown guitar?
Yes, he always does. Amazing. All right, Geoff. Well, how about it?
You see, I've got a lot on my plate, as it were.
You certainly do. You've got a lot of ideas. No question about that.
Absolutely. The sky is the limit. The world is my oyster.
That's right. And you're willing to lick that oyster.
And now I'm going off the fuck till my balls hurt.
Well, why don't you do that? And I am going to play what I would say is Your Let It Be, a song called Forever from the first Geoff Tate solo record.
It's such an excellent choice. You must have read my mind, Christopher. That is one of the all-time Barry White, Marvin Gaye songs to fuck to have mad monkey sex to.
Well, turn it up loud and rip fucking...
And I urge all of your listeners in the Peanut Gallery to get out their blow-up dolls and try it for themselves.
Well, I hope they do right now, and I hope that Susan's vagina ends up in her asshole when you're done listening to this song, Jeff.
Hold on. Susan, get ready, you horny slut. Here comes Jeff.
All right, Jeff, go plow that field.
Pal.
All right, here it is. It is Geoff Tate. It is Forever right here on your Classic Metal Show.